Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or watching this channel for the first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense because here on this platform we discuss everyday issues where we try to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know that I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. I also want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode has been enabled, meaning if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you will need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you've been a member of the Uncommon Folk from the very beginning or as late as today. I truly appreciate all the love and support all you've given me. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media, uh, especially when it comes to Instagram or TikTok. I really appreciate the love and support. I want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into devices and to all those who watch me from the clouds. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So, tonight we're going to be talking a serious topic, which is regarding domestic violence. Now, being October is both Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month because it is a serious issue. Now, due to the nature of the topic, I'm going to allow anyone who wishes to share the string as long as it is used for purposes of education. And I'm going to ask, in fact, I'm going to insist that the topic be limited to this topic, okay? Because it's a serious issue, and the last thing I need is to have people to be clowning around and bringing their beefs over to this platform. Which brings me to another episode of In My Words. I don't usually do this, but this is the first time I'm going to be doing this. And this message is directed to either to King Macho the First or King Macho, whatever it is, or the troll or what have you. You are allowed to express your point of view. You are not allowed to bring your beef with Donna Mount or here on this platform or bring any beefs in this platform. If you don't have anything constructive to say regarding the topic in question, I'm going to ask that you refrain from commenting at all. If I have to block you, I will do so. Okay? And particularly when it comes to a topic like domestic violence, this is a serious discussion that we're going to have. The last thing we need is have anyone coming in here with beeps or talking nonsense. If you cannot contribute anything positive to the topic, kindly refrain from entering your comments. Okay? I have been very tolerant up to this point. I'm not going to be tolerant any further. If I have to, anyone who cannot comply with this request, that will be blocked. It is that simple. Which brings me to the next thing. Now, you have heard me on numerous occasions. I have said, if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. What that means is this: if there is someone in this platform that is willing to deal with me and can accept me for who I am, then I'm going to do the same thing to that person, regardless of who there is, regardless on what side of the YouTube corner that they are. Okay, because that's the type of person I am. Okay, I'm not here to argue with anybody. I'm not here to have peace with anybody. I'm here to provide a safe space for everyone to have a say in what they wish to talk about. That's all. And of course, at times, we're going to disagree, which is perfectly fine. We can discuss our disagreements and be agreeable when we disagree. But this whole point of going back and forth, particularly going back and forth with someone else that's in the chat or someone else that's on the panel, is getting very old. In fact, it's so old, it's ancient. Okay. And at this point, I'm sick and tired of it. I don't want it going into the end of 2023. People beefing about beefs regarding stuff that happened, I don't know how long ago. Now, if you want to go on your own platform and beef about whomever, go ahead. Okay? But not here. Do not, and I repeat, do not bring your beefs over here. You do that, you will be blocked. It is that simple. Now, before we get into the main topic tonight, there's going to be somewhat of a change as far as scheduling. Okay. As most of you know, I do my streams on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Friday night. It's going to be Tuesday night and Thursday night. If there's going to be a Friday night stream, it's probably going to be a late one. I don't know. I just have to wait and see. And the reason behind that is because next week I will be on my trip. Okay. So Wednesday, I would rather just prepare for my trip and just air my content at another time. Okay. Now, with that being said, we're going to get into the main topic. So, as you can tell by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is what is domestic violence? And as I stated before, this month is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some articles, but first I'm going to share the definition of what is domestic violence. So just give me a moment. Now, hopefully, okay. Okay, so here is the definition of domestic violence. Domestic violence is violence committed by someone in the victim's domestic circle. This includes partners and ex-partners, intimate family members, other relatives, and family friends. The term domestic violence is used when there is a close relationship between the offender and the victim. Okay, so that is the definition of domestic violence in a nutshell. And the reason why I share that definition is because we need to have a clear understanding of what it is about. Okay, so now let's stop sharing my screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I came across some articles that I'm going to share. Just give me a moment. Also, I want to let everybody know that the The join the panel has been pinned. If anyone wishes to join the panel, they may do so. Okay. However, you're not obligated to do so. Okay. Because I do understand that there are people who may not feel comfortable, uh, particularly when it comes to this topic. Okay. And let me just make it perfectly clear. Um, there's also some misconceptions when it comes to domestic violence, and one of the easiest misdirection no, misconception is, why doesn't the people just simply leave a domestic violence relationship? It's not that simple, folks. Okay, I have never been involved in that type of situation, but what I have heard, it's a very difficult situation, and there may be reasons why the victim may be reluctant to leave. One of them is because the victim is dependent on the so-called offender for their financial support or for emotional support. Also, many times, the offender is a parent. So I just want to make it perfectly clear that there are circumstances why people are very reluctant to leave a domestic violence situation. So it is not our place to pass judgment on those who choose to stay. What we're trying to do is share some information and help those that may be uh, suffering this ordeal as far as what they can do to escape it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. Now, this article comes from the United Nations website. And this was just the thing to bear in mind, that this is not a domestic problem; it's an international problem, and it can happen in any country, um, whether it be whether it be an undeveloped country or a developed country, or third rate or second rate or first rate. Okay, and I do recall that I think 2.5 years ago, Xtina did a stream when it comes to femicide, where women were being deleted by their ex partners. And as I recall, my dear friend Denise Gonzalez shared a great deal of statistical data when it comes to the subject. Okay, so let's read. Domestic abuse, also called domestic violence or intimate partner violence, can be defined as partner of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. Abuse is physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. This includes any behavior that's frighten, intimidate, terrorize, manipulate, hurt, humiliate, blame, can injure, or wound someone. Domestic abuse can happen to anyone of any race, sexual orientation, religion, or gender. It can occur within a range of relationships, including couples who are married, living together, or dating. Domestic violence affects people of all social, economic backgrounds and educational levels. Now, one thing we need to bear in mind, is anyone can be a victim of domestic violence regardless of age, race, gender, sexual orientation, faith, or class. So this can happen to anyone at any time. Okay. Victims of domestic violence, domestic abuse may also include a child or other relative or any household member. Domestic abuse is typically manifested as a pattern of abusive behavior towards an intimate partner in a dating or family relationship where the abuser exerts power and control over the victim. Domestic abuse can be mental, physical, economic, or sexual in nature. Incidents are really isolated and usually escalate in frequency and severity. Domestic abuse may culminate in serious physical injury or death. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the signs of domestic abuse. Okay, which is the following. Does your partner embarrass or make fun of you in front of your family, friends or family? Put down your accomplishments, make you feel like you're unable to make decisions. Use intimidation or threats to gain compliance. Tell you that you're nothing without them. Treat you roughly, grab, push, pinch, shove, or hit you. Call you several times a night or show up to make sure that you are where you say you would be. Use drugs or alcohol as an excuse to saying hurtful things or abusing you. Blame you for how they feel or act. Pressure you sexually for things that you aren't ready for. Make you feel like there's no way out of the relationship. Prevent you from doing the things you want, like spending time with friends and or family. Try to keep you from leaving after a fight or leave somewhere after a fight to teach you a lesson. So if any of these things happen to you, uh, highly likely you are experiencing domestic abuse. Now, do you sometimes feel scared of how your partner might behave? Constantly make excuses to other people for your partner's behavior? Believe that you can help your partner change if only you change something about yourself? Try not to do anything that will cause conflict or make your partner angry? Always do what your partner wants you to do instead of what you want? Stay with your partner because you are afraid of what your partner would do if you broke up? Okay? Now remember when I said a few minutes ago that ending um, a domestic abuse situation is easier said and done. So, and this is for the reasons why and others. If any of these things are happening in your relationship, talk to someone. Without help, the abuse will continue. Making that first call to seek help is a courageous step. Now, here are some things to bear in mind. No one deserves to be abused. The abuse is not your fault. You are not alone. Don't worry about threats to your visa. We have information of visa options for your situation. Don't worry if you don't speak the local language. We can get you help in many languages. Okay, this is applicable, say, if the partner is either a resident of the country or their status is undocumented. Okay, um, you can't stay in the country uh, if you are experience domestic abuse and there are resources available to help you. Okay. The image you see here is what's called the excuse me, the power and control wheel. Okay. Physical and sexual assaults or threats of committing are most apparent forms of domestic abuse and violence and are usually the actions that allow others to become aware of the problem. However, regular use of other abusive behaviors by the abuser, when reinforced by one or more acts of physical violence, make up a larger system of abuse. Although physical assault may occur only once or occasionally, they instill the fear of future violent attacks and allow the abuser to take control of the victim's life and circumstances. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how to enlarge it, okay? But those, now, the power and control wheel is particularly helpful to in understanding the overall pattern of abuse and violent behaviors which are used by abusers to establish and maintain control over his or her partner or any victim in the household. Very often, one or more violent incidents may be accompanied by an array of these or other types of abuse. These are less easily identified yet firmly established a pattern of intimidation control in the relationship. So there's several types of abuse. Okay. Um, Emotional abuse includes undermining a person's sense of self-worth through constant criticism, belittling one's abilities, name calling, or other verbal abuse, damaging a partner's relationship with the children and not letting the partner see friends and family. You may be in an emotional abusive relationship if your partner calls you names, insults you, or continually criticizes you, does not trust you and act as in a jealous or possessive manner, tries to insulate you from family and friends, monitor where you go, who you call, and whom you spend your time with, does not want you to work, control finances, or refuses to share money, punish you by withholding affection, expects you the explanation, threaten to hurt you, the children or family or your pets, humiliate you in any way. Okay. Remember what I spoke about a few minutes ago regarding financial dependence. Okay. That could be in one type of abuse. Now, the another type of abuse is psychological abuse involved causing fear by intimidation, threatening, or physical harm to self, partner, or children, destruction of pets and property, mind games, and forcing isolation from friends, family, school, and or work. Okay. Now we also gonna also have financial or economic abuse. Involves making or attempting to make a person financially dependent by maintaining total control over finances, financial resources, withholding access to money, and or forbidding attendance in school or employment. As I stated again, part of the abuse is a financial dependence on the abuser. Next, we have physical abuse. This involves hurting or trying to hurt a partner by hitting, kicking, burning, grabbing, pinching, shoving, slapping, hair pulling, biting, denying medical care, or forcing alcohol or drug use, or using other physical force. You may be in a physically abusive relationship if your partner. Damages property when angry, throws objects, punches, walls, kick doors, etc. Punches, slaps, bites, or kicks or chokes you. Abandons you in a dangerous or unfamiliar space. Scare you by driving recklessly. Uses a weapon to threaten you. Forces you to leave your home. trap you in your home, keep you from leaving, prevent you from calling the police or seeking medical attention, hurt your children, or use physical force in sexual situations. Now, we're going to be dealing regarding sexual abuse. Sexual abuse involves forcing a partner to take part in a sex act when the partner does not consent. You may be in a sexual abusive relationship if your partner accuses you of cheating or often jealous of your outside relationships, wants you to dress in a sexual way, insult you in sexual ways, or call you sexual names, has ever forced or manipulated you into having sex or performing sexual acts, hold you down during sex, demand sex when you are sick, tired, or after beating you, hurt you with weapons or objects during sex, involves other people in sexual activities with you, and ignore your feelings regarding sex. Now, the next thing that could happen is called stalking. And this involves any pattern of behavior that serves to no legitimate purpose and is tended to harass, annoy, or terrorize the victim. Typical stalking activities include repeated telephone calls, unwelcome letters, or gifts by mail, surveillance at work, home, or other places where the victim is known to frequent. Stalking usually escalates. Okay. Now, for the survivors, there's a couple of things that we need to bear in mind. No one deserves to be abused. The abuse is not your fault. You are not alone. Contact the Critical Incident Stress Management Unit if you are concerned that you may be experiencing any form of abuse or fear for your safety of yourself or your children. If English is not your first language, you can request a language you feel more comfortable speaking when contacting CISMU to provide support. You can also see support organizations to identify and contact appropriate resources for your assistance for both U.S. and international. Read how you can protect your digital privacy. Okay. So these are things that that you can do. Okay. Now, for concerned staff, how can you help? How can you help victims of domestic abuse? Listen and believe the abused person. Let them know that they're not alone. Encourage him or her to seek support through confidential hotline to connect with a professional in the field. Express concern for him, her, show support and other referrals to available resources. If you have not been directly approached but have reason to believe that a colleague may be in an abusive relationship, consult with your organization's counseling or ombudsman office. No. Keep in mind that survival often makes several attempts to leave the abusive relationship before succeeding. For an abusive partner, are you the abuser? If you recognize that you're mistreating your partner, there may be a resource and you're committed to assist you to end the abuse. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is a number of resources that can assist. While this is a U.S. hotline, the advice and information may be useful no matter where you live. Understand that domestic violence is not only against the United Nations Code of Conduct, but you may be subject to criminal prosecution under the law that is applicable in the duty station where you work. Okay. And we're going to park it here. Okay. Good evening, Irby. How are you doing tonight? Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. Just to let you know, the topic for tonight is what is domestic violence. Okay. And as I stated before, the reason why we are discussing this topic is it is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Yes, please hit the like button. Okay. Even the cloud watchers. Okay. So is that, and also we have to recognize the fact that the problem exists. You know, we also must bear in mind that no one deserves to be a victim of abuse. Okay, and I repeat, no one, no one whatsoever. So what I'm gonna do is say. Now I'm going to share. Okay. Now I'm going to share a number. Um, no. Now, one thing we have to bear in mind that many times that if we come across someone that we suspect is a victim of domestic abuse or domestic violence, that many times that the victim is reluctant to leave. Okay. And that has to do with the fact that they fear for their safety. They also fear that they could be, their plight might get worsened, or they are financially dependent on the abuser. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen. Now, right, this is the Office of Prevention of Domestic Violence website. Okay. So as you can see here, you can either call or you can text someone. Okay. And there's also a live chat that's active 24/7. So the number to call if you wish to contact the Office of Prevention Domestic Violence is 1-800-942-6906. That's 1-800-942-6906. You can also text them at 844-997-2121. Let me repeat. It is, if you want to text, it's 844-997-2121. Also, there is a live chat that's active 24/7 where you can speak with someone to get assistance regarding domestic violence. Also, there's a link when you can find a provider. So again, and it's the call is 1-800-942-6906. The text is 844-997-2121. Now let me just say the information in Spanish. Por caso, si usted es una víctima de violencia doméstica o conocen a alguien que está pasando por esta situación, se puede llamar, es el lugar que es, perdón, la Oficina de la Prevención de Violencia Doméstica. El número del marcal es 800-942-6906. De nuevo, 800-942-6906. Si quieren mandar un texto, se puede hacerlo a 844-997-2121. De nuevo, para mandar un texto, el número es 844-997-2121. Y allí que hay un enlace que puede mandar un mensaje por el chat. Y hay proveedores que usted puede buscar para ayudarle a salir de la situación de abuso doméstico. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share one more article. Okay. And then I'll probably going to call it a night. Okay. But again, if anyone is so inclined to share this stream, I would appreciate it. Okay. Because we do need to get that information out there. Because we might know someone that's experiencing domestic abuse. So just give me a moment. No, that's not what I want. So I'm just going to share one more article, and then I'm probably going to call it a night. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some statistical data to help us understand a little bit better. Okay, first of all, on the average, nearly 20%, 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States during 1 year. That equals to more than 10 million women and men. One in 4 women and 1 in 9 men experience severe intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner contact sexual violence, and or intimate partner stalking with impacts such as injury, fearfulness, post-traumatic stress disorder, and use of victim services, contraction of sexually transmitted diseases. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. This includes a range of behaviors: slapping, shoving, pushing, and in some cases might be even considered domestic violence. 1 in 7 women and 1 of 25 men have been injured by an intimate partner. 1 in 10 women have been raped by an intimate partner, data is unavailable for male victims. Okay. And I think part of the reason why is there's a lot of shame involved for men reporting incidents of rape. One in four women and one in seven men have been victims of severe physical violence, beating, burning, strangling by an intimate partner in their lifetime. One in seven women and one in 18 men have been stalked by an intimate partner during their lifetime to the point which they felt very fearful or believed that they or someone close to them would be harmed or killed. On a typical day, there are more than 20,000 phone calls placed up to domestic violence hotlines nationwide. The presence of guns in domestic violence situations has increased the risk of homicide by 500%. Intimate partner violence accounts for 15% of all violent crime. Women between the ages of 18 to 24 are most commonly abused by an intimate partner. 90% of domestic violence involves a weapon. Domestic violence victimization is correlated with a higher rate of depression and suicidal behavior. Only 34% of people who are injured by intimate partners receive medical care for their injuries. Now that's scary, okay? Because we don't know to the extent that they're physically injured. So the fact that only one third actually seek medical attention, that's scary. Now we're going to be talking about grape. One in three women and one in seven men in the United States have been raped in their lifetime. Okay. Now, obviously, a lot of attention is on women, but men can be sexually assaulted as well. Almost half of a female, 46.7%, and male, 44.9% of victims of rape in the United States were raped by an acquaintance. Of these, 45.4% of female rape victims and 29% of male rape victims were raped by an intimate partner. Stalking, 19.3 million victims and women and 5.1 million men in the United States have been stalked in their lifetime. 60.8% of female stalking victims and 43.5% of men report being stalked by a current or former intimate partner. Homicide. A study of intimate partner homicide found that 20% of the victims were not the intimate partner themselves, but family members, friends, neighbors, persons who intervened, law enforcement, and responders or bystanders. 72% of murder suicides involve an intimate partner. 94% of the victims of these murders deletions are female. Children and domestic violence. 1 in 15 children are exposed to intimate partner violence each year, and 90% of these children are white witnesses to the violence. Now, I'm going to be talking about the economic impact. Again, part of the reason why these victims are very reluctant to leave their situation because they are financially dependent on the abuser. Okay? Victims of intimate partner violence lose a total of $8 million days of paid work each year. The cost of intimate partner violence exceeds $8.3 billion per year. Between 21 to 60% of the victims of intimate partner violence loses their job due to reasons stemming from the abuse. Between 2003 and 2008, 142 women were murdered or deleted in the workplace by their abuser. 78% of the women deleted in the workplace during this time frame. Okay. The physical and mental impact are the following. Women abuse their intimate partners are more vulnerable to contracting HIV or STI, or any STIs due to forced intercourse or prolonged exposure to stress. Studies suggest that there is a relationship between intimate partner violence and depression and deletion behavior. Physical, mental, and sexual and reproductive health effects have been linked to with partner violence, including adolescent pregnancy, unintended pregnancy in general, miscarriage, stillborn, uterine hemorrhaging, nutritional deficiency, abdominal pain, and other gastrointestinal problems, neurological disorder, chronic pain, disability, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as non-communicable disease such as hypertension, cancer, and cardiovascular disease. Victims of domestic violence also have a high risk of developing addiction to alcohol, tobacco, and or drugs. As you can see here, there are different topics here. So what I'm going to do is stop. Excuse me, just give me a moment. Hello? I apologize. I was just taking a phone call. Okay, now as you can see, again, these are the reasons why it is so difficult for a person that is a victim of domestic violence to leave the situation. Okay, because unfortunately, what has happened is that the victim has developed a dependency on the abuser, and many times it is a financial dependency. Also, there's isolation involved, meaning that the abuser does not allow the victim to go outside to interact with friends, family, or friends, does not allow them to go to school or work, extremely closely monitor every move that they make. Also, um, there is sexual abuse involved. Okay, and also the victim is exposed to possible sexually transmitted diseases due to the fact that the victim's health is impaired, and also a lot of the times when the abuser will have sexual relations outside of the relationship, usually unprotected sexual contact. And then if that abuser have contracted any sexually transmitted diseases, it is false upon the victim. So and so for that reason and for many others, why it is so hard for the victim to leave. So, and again, it's easier to say to the victim, why don't they just leave? Okay. The problem is it is easier said than done. Okay. That's why um, when you approach someone who you suspect is a victim of domestic abuse, okay, and you encourage try to encourage them to leave, they are very reluctant to do so, okay, because there is a serious fear of regarding not just what might happen to them, but what might happen to their children, what might happen to their loved ones. So that's the reason why um, victims are very reluctant um, to leave. Okay, and if they do leave, they have to have some resources to go to fall on to help them to deal with it. Not just the physical abuse, not just the sexual abuse, but also the psychological damage that's not only inflicted on them, but also inflicted on the children. So that's the reason why. And if we come across or we suspect someone who is a victim of domestic abuse or domestic violence, okay, we must not judge them as far as why they're in that relationship. What we need to do is to be supportive. Yeah, I agree. There's also women's shelters here in New York. Okay. The problem is this. The problem is this. It stands for, first of all, the victim must recognize that there is a problem. The victim must realize that they need help. Okay. Then, and only then, can the victim get the help they need to try to leave a very violent situation. Okay. So I'm going to ask, please withhold your judgment regarding someone that is in a domestic violence situation. Okay. I'm sure in their heart of hearts, they want to leave, but they're fearful of the consequences, not just to them, but to their loved ones. And fear can be a powerful weapon to force someone to continue to remain online. Okay. Now, I have been talking for almost an hour. So, if no one else wishes to opine any further, or no one else wishes to join the panel, then I will stop to wrap it up. Okay. And again, let me make it perfectly clear, no one, and I repeat, no one deserves to be abused in any way, shape, or form. Okay. Now, let me just share with you what's going to be the topic for Friday's stream. Okay. Now, Friday, it's going to be more of a humorous topic, okay? And basically, it's going to be on Christian memes, okay? Now, what the heck does that mean? That means, well, one thing that people don't understand about Christians is that we also have a sense of humor. So we tend to look at things in a humorous way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a sample for yourself so you can see what I am talking about. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to mute myself. So this is just to give you an example of what I'm talking about. And now I'm going to mute myself.
Oh, son of a blessed be the name of the Lord. For your glory, I will do it. Mother Mary, did you know that your baby boy shackles off my feet so I can dance? Just want to praise you. I just want to praise you.
Now, part of the reason why I aired it because I did want to it ended on a humorous, positive note. Okay, but that's kind of like an idea of what I'm gonna be sharing on Friday's stream. Okay. Now I understand that Don Armando is having a stream right now, so I'm probably going to get most people to watch this on the playback. But in any case, I just wanted to have a serious discussion in regards to domestic abuse and just explain to you what it is and how it affects people. Okay. And again, let me make this perfectly clear. No one deserves to be the victim. Okay. No one deserves to be abused, whether it be physically, whether it be mentally, whether it be sexually or whatever, or to be isolated from their family and friends. Okay. And it's very easy for us to say, well, they should leave, he or she should leave the relationship. Okay. There are many factors on why people stay in that type of environment. So it's not our place to pass judgment. It is our place to offer them an escape should they wish to do so. And for those of us who believe in the power of prayer, to keep them in prayer. Okay. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this up. Um, Perhaps on Friday's stream we'll have a little bit more activity. I will be on Friday at 9 p.m. and we will have a more of a lighthearted discussion. But in any case, I do appreciate all those who watch from the clouds, all those who watch it live, and all those who will watch it on the playback. And again, all are welcome to enter a comment. Just keep it positive and please stick with the topic. Okay? But in any case, I thank you all for your time and attention. So I'm going to bid all of you a very pleasant good night. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Wishing all of you good night. Before I go, let me just state one more thing. We must do everything possible to minimize our contact with a mentally and intellectual challenge. If we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. This has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron, saying good night, take care, and peace.